Kaboom! Hey, what's going on, guys? Ty from Breaker Culture, part of the Bench Clear Media Network. And today I have another great guest, someone who was on the show 4 months ago and surprised me with how interested folks were with what he was talking about. And so I thought, you know what, let's have him back on and talk about really how bots and cook groups are continuing to evolve and fit within the hobby. So I have Roman back on. Roman runs a cook group that's growing, and we talk about the increased prices on bots, investing in bots, the differences between them, and really what the mindset is of people coming into cook groups now. I don't think it'll be anything too surprising to you, but it always is interesting to me figuring out kind of what are people thinking as they enter the sports card hobby now. And so we break that down, and as always, some good takeaways and good perspective from Roman. Go check out Roman and everything he's doing over there in his cook group. You'll find the link in the show notes. Also, go check out collectyourplayer.com. It is a website that is focused on providing very specific information about primary rookie cards, secondary rookie cards, PSA pop reports. It provides Google News alerts, and all kinds of other stuff that's in one spot. You go to collectyourplayer.com, you type in the player you're looking for, you find the rookie card to collect, and you see other pertinent information that you might need as you're collecting your specific player. So go check it out, collectyourplayer.com. Enjoy the show. Roman, how you doing, man?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me on here again.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you back. You had one of the most talked about shows in the last 6 months for me. I think it's one of those, like, people saw bots and they were just polarized that this even existed. So I'm glad to have you back.
It took the community by storm. I know that.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. First off, how's life? How's the work, school, life balance right now for you?
I mean, it's all about consistency at the end of the day. You know, just putting in 110% every day, and kind of looking at it as in like the end goal.
Because you're in classes, right?
Yeah, I have my classes are basically like they say asynchronous, which is you kind of do it whenever you can. So it's not the best education, but it is what it is.
How different is it for you with the COVID rules right now? Did it totally wreck your flow, or is it?
Yeah, a lot of people honestly like working from home, but I personally can't. I need to get out the house, even if it requires more financial loss or more time being wasted. I'd rather get out the house and talk to people than sit at home. That's just my personal perspective on it.
Yeah, it's funny. It sounds good on paper, and then you do it, and you're like, I think I'd rather be in class.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm dealing with that with my kids. The first month was like, this is great, loving this. Got a new MacBook. Now it's like, I cannot get back to school fast enough. Get me back in class. What about sports, man? Have you been hot and heavy in sports, keeping up with everything?
Yeah, so I got heavy back into basketball, just because I started investing. Yeah. So you kind of have to follow your investment, see what's going on. And football's ending, at the time that we're recording this, but it's interesting. I guess I kind of fell off from my I used to be a diehard Eagles fan, like the year that we were going into the Super Bowl. And then after that, we just started going downhill, and you're just like, I can't suffer anymore. It hurts hard enough. So it's just like, I'll be quiet until we're back in a couple of years.
There you go. You'll have your rotation back into it.
Yeah,
that's for sure. Getting rid of Doug Peterson, I think, was probably the right thing. Seemed like
I agree. Yeah,
we're just not having enough. Tired of him.
Yeah.
Was it 4 years ago you went to the Super Bowl? 5 years ago?
I think 5, around there. Oh no, it was 4. Yep.
Was it 4? Yeah.
4.
That quick, wow. They turn on them.
Time flies.
Philly, 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 Philly. What about products, man? Are you what products have you liked so far from the sports car perspective?
I mean, I've always been a Prism fan. The one thing that's kind of scaring me is the prices for retail, especially.
No,
Oh, come on! Even
they're not
hoops today,
scaring you.
hoops for 350. That's absurd. And then Donruss is around 1,000. Like, I don't even want to know what Prism is gonna be. It's gonna be like $2,000, like a hobby box.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
just absurd. It's just absurd.
Yeah. What's crazy is that, and I don't quite remember on release what 1920 Prism was going for, but I mean, it's looking like this year's 2021 is going to open higher than it was last year, 1920.
Oh, 100%. It's a lot higher. I would say maybe like 3, 4 times as much.
And you got Zion, Ja Morant, Tyler Hero, etc. versus what?
Versus Wiseman and
Wiseman and Ball, LaMelo,
yeah, exactly.
Desmond Bain.
It's I don't know,
Crazy.
very interesting. And
Yeah.
it's kind of funny they're trying to still milk the last year's draft class
Yeah.
because if you look at even the NBA hoops that dropped today, they had the pictures of like Zion, Ja on their Panini website. Like they didn't even upload any like Wiseman cards or anything. It was just like trying to milk last year's draft class.
Yeah. It's funny. I was joking with one of our folks in our Discord channel, JK. He was actually pinging me today. He's like, it's funny seeing all these new collectors come in that still think Ja Morant and Zion Williamson are rookies because
Yeah,
they're just being so promoted, the face of the sport right now. They're not rookies, guys.
they're not.
It doesn't help that there's no new products out. I'm glad to see hoops finally hitting the market. So what do you from your Discord channel and your cook group when there's no product out? What do you guys focus on? Like what are the hobbyists focusing on right now?
So mainly we've been doing StarStock.
Okay.
And I know like before when we hopped on, I wasn't like very familiar with it, but now like I see so much money to be made from it, and I'll even give like your listeners like a quick tip to make kind of simple money on it. So if you go on eBay, I'll use like Jackson Hayes as an example. His rookie card Prism sells for around $1 to $2, and
Mhm.
on StarStock it sells for 10. So you could make a nice $8, $7 if you just send it in and wait the month. And if you do that with 10 or 100 cards, as long as there's demand, you're gonna be able to move it.
Interesting. So when you say you as a cook group, you guys are doing that, what are you guys kind of collaborating on players and you're giving suggestions to go buy
Yeah,
up stuff?
so we send every day we send auctions, of potential players that we think are good and potential cards that we think are good because we don't want you sending in like it's almost like grading. You wouldn't want to grade a card that's an 8. And well, at the end of the day, we tell people, like, listen, if this card's a certified like 100% to 10, send it off to grading because at the end of the day, you're gonna have much greater ROI, even though you are gonna have to wait longer. In terms of, especially
Yep.
with football right now, you can send it into PSA right now. I mean, to StarStock right now, but you're still gonna have to wait until preseason or midseason to start selling. So if you're gonna wait 6 months, you might as well send it a PSA.
Yep.
But basketball, it takes probably like a month if you don't have fast pass for players to get in on StarStock. And a lot of my group members have like some are doing like weekly submissions. They just like buy up cards. They buy like 20, 30, 40 cards a week. Like let's say 5 profit on each. You send it into StarStock. It's it's a decent come up.
Yeah, interesting. That's a great strategy. Yeah, I think getting the qualifiers like Star Stock A, Star Stock B, Star Stock C changes the game a little bit, but that's
Right.
that's a great
That's
great
where
tip.
we come in a bit and do the research. Like at least look at the card when we send it in, and especially on the player who we think it's kind of a good auction that you should go for it. And then we kind of tell you, you got to like let's say a 5, it's selling at 15. This is
Yep.
like your potential profit, and then like do you send it in, do this and do that with it.
So of the new guys coming in, would you say, or even just your crew now, Where are they losing? Like, what are you seeing as a common mistake from these guys when they're buying and selling cards right now?
Um, Good question. So some of like the new guys that are coming in are just buying any product.
Yeah.
And I could even hold some of my staff, like my Pokemon staff, who's into football but doesn't know football cards. Surprising. He's buying like 50. He bought like, I mean, it worked out well for him, but he bought the Brady like certified this year's cards, like the 1920 certified Brady cards. And at first though, this is before, he won. So he got lucky and was able to flip them, but I was like, this is like a very low brand. It's not a
Yeah.
rookie card, and it's like a at this point like a 40th year Brady. I don't even know how long this guy's been in the league. Probably longer than I've been alive. So it's you're getting something like that, and I try to tell them stick to mainly rookie cards unless you're getting someone who, because the market will definitely shift. Even vintage has blown up, and basketball mainly, and I think football's up next. There's so much money to be made in football vintage.
Yeah. I agree. You just need to tell your guys that the silvers are just the V maxes, right? And that really good player is a super rare V max. That's all it is. That's the only
Yeah,
thing I know about Pokemon.
yeah, that's all it is.
That's the extent of my knowledge.
Yeah.
Interesting. Nice. So you're saying that what you're seeing is folks are jumping in, they're getting into essentially a sport they don't know anything about and just assuming everything works. And as we both know, most of these cards don't work right now in general. You have to be very knowledgeable about which players, what specific cards, if you're going to flip them quick.
Yeah, so it all depends on the market. It's I would say stars like I'll talk about StarStock right now. It's a lot easier when it comes to football because you do have like a 16 game. You don't have a game every day, so you kind of have time to
Yep.
analyze. Okay, you have Stephon Diggs getting covered by a very
Jalen
like a
Ramsey.
rookie cornerback. So
Sure.
okay, yeah, like Jalen Ramsey. So he might not have a good game but let's say he's covered against like a rookie cornerback or someone who's new. He might have a like 100-yard game, like 10 catches, something like that, and his price will skyrocket. So
Yep.
that's something that you have to think about. But in basketball, you have a game every other day. It's so many factors. So
Yep.
I kind of tell like guys are like buy this guy, and eventually he will have a breakout game, and that's when you sell him.
Yeah. No, that's so true. And I think StarStock has finally made it possible to trade kind of matchups and performances. It was too hard to do that before, but now you can actually do that. You can buy and sell based on what you see in matchups in the next couple of weeks. It's a great thing.
I agree. I agree 100%. So yeah, basically it's basketball. The tip is just pick up a guy like even we have like Gary Trent Jr. when he was down, and eventually he'll have a good game or two, and that's when you sell. Buy low, sell high. Simple concept.
How many of these guys would you say actually collect that are setting aside and building a collection of their own?
Say 50-50. We do have a lot of people who do like vintage. That's the kind of the interesting part to me. We have some people who like are strictly vintage, like mainly the older guys, who are like in their 40s or like mid 30s. Those are the guys who are in the vintage. But then you have kind of like my generation. These guys like we're all about like quick flips. Kind of like I need it now.
Yeah,
That's like something like I noticed.
that's interesting. So you're saying demographic wise, the 30 to 40 year olds tend to hold stuff a little bit more, and the younger guys are just like, get me in and out of this stuff. What?
Yeah, I would think so. Of course they still collect and all that stuff, but
Yeah.
it, it's interesting.
What are you personally collecting right now? What's kind of your stuff that you're holding?
So for the next 6 months, it's strictly football, just because that's when it's going to explode. Different in terms of basketball, because basketball you buy off season, sell playoffs, but football
Yep.
you buy off season, sell preseason. So I'm going heavy in the next you know like 4 or 5. Well, I'm trying to go heavy this month, so I have enough
Yeah.
time to send to PSA, and then we unload.
No baseball for you. What about the Cook Group in general? You guys focusing on baseball at all?
You see, yeah, we have a baseball staff, of course, but I never grew up watching baseball. I know as much as, as someone who doesn't know baseball. I barely know anything.
Yeah.
So it's just it's not something I'm going to invest in because I don't know about it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Where would you say outside of like your Discord folks, like your generation, where do you gravitate to find information on sports cards these days? Do you go to Facebook? Do you go to social and Twitter and YouTube?
So for my generation, no, it's Facebook. I feel like Facebook is a bit difficult to deal with people there. It's honestly it's probably other Discord
Yeah.
groups or
Okay.
or Instagram pages of people's. That's kind of like the best way, what I really want to get out of it.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I should have just assumed Instagram. I feel like I get hit up more by the younger generation on Instagram. I just had a guy today who bought something from me on eBay and he shot me a message on Instagram versus sending through the eBay message system because
Yeah,
that's just I think what he was thinking. It's natural.
I mean it's honestly easier to reach on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's true. It is. It's a great platform for communicating. Well, that's good. That's good perspective. It's kind of I've always liked to let listeners know because I think the majority of my listeners are probably not younger generation. They're probably in the middle there, upper 20s, upper 30s. It's good to hear what you're thinking. And I mean, there's a whole lot of the young 20s entering the sports card market right now. And you guys are moving and shaking.
Oh yeah, and most of them are the resellers, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what it seems like. So let's shift the topic a little bit to bots right now. I know that was obviously a big topic of ours last time. What has and hasn't been working with the bots? I know there's a big push for some of these vendors like a Panini and Topps to shut down or block bots out. I know Top Shot now on the digital side is really trying to make sure bots don't ruin the experience. What's working right now from your guys' bots?
So honestly, it's gotten pretty simpler actually since last time we spoke. The
Really?
bots have gotten better. I had a buddy today. A buddy today in my group. I think he got 4 boxes of hoops for like he spent like 1.2K on it. Even though hoops didn't have as much profit, I wasn't even able to cart manually. Like that's how it was difficult it was because bots are able to cook Panini now, like the website. Not only Walmart or Target, they're also able to take Panini. So my guy, one of my like members with the bot called KSR, he got 4 NBA hoops, which you would not be able to do manually.
Interesting. So you're saying the bots are adjusting faster than a site like Panini is adjusting, and so they have the upper
Hundred
hand right
percent,
now.
100%. And it also depends on the bot because since our last call, I have been doing like researching a lot about it, and it all depends on their coding team. So these guys are very smart people, and a lot of it depends on the bot. For example, there's a bot, it's called Stellar, and it's a decent bot. It's like $80, but there's a reason why you have like such little success rate. It's almost like when you're gambling with it because you have 2,000 people using this one bot at $80 a month, and when you have 2,000 people trying to go for the same item, you're gonna have a lower success rate because the website's eventually going to figure out that how to stop these 2,000 algorithms in terms of when it's like a bot which like KSR, which is limited to like 500 people, or even Dragon, which 200 people own.
Interesting. So give the price deltas between a KSR, a Dragon, and a Stellar. What you said $80 for something like a Stellar.
Okay.
What does a KSR and Dragon cost?
Yeah, so Stellar's like okay, this will blow your mind. I'll start from like lowest to middle.
I
So
love your excitement around this topic, by the way.
yeah. So Stellar is kind of open to everyone. They're still in beta. I think they should be releasing their quote unquote like out of beta, which I think is going to be the same thing. And it's around $80 right now. And like I said before, I tried Stellar for when they dropped those packs on Panini like a week ago on the football ones. I forgot the name of those.
Yep.
Okay, and so basically, my buddy and I, we both went for it with Stellar, and like we kind of figured out like the reason it didn't work is because if you look in the Discord, they have like 2,000 other people, and you have 2,000 other people going with this one bot for the same product, so that doesn't work. Then you have KSR. KSR is very limited. So how KSR was originally started, there was a group, and in this, it's kind of like a group like like a cook group, and they had a raffle for this bot, and you basically got it for like very cheap. And if you want to buy it now, it's around like 3 to 4 thousand. It's an expensive bot.
So you mean like
But it's
buy it
if
for your group, not for yourself. Buy it for your group.
no for yourself, for one person.
Whoa. Okay.
So you're spending 3 to 4 thousand on for yourself. You kind of have to think of it like long term, because if you're able to get 5, 10 boxes of Prism, it at least covers it halfway. And the thing is, KSR also works on shoes, like Nike, Shopify, Walmart, Target. So I recommend KSR if you're into like just the flipping.
Yep.
And then you have Dragon. You ready for this one?
Yes. I'm bracing myself.
Okay, so there's only 200 copies in the world, and my buddy just actually got it. He won like 4 ways with like his friends on it, but it was 18,000.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
which is a car. It's 18,000. But he said, this guy told me it literally like murders Walmart, Target. Like he's running me slots. So if you want to hop on like another podcast in like a month or two, and I'll let you know if I have like a nice wall of products.
Oh my goodness. So let's say I'm interested. I want to go buy Dragon. I want to buy access into Dragon. There's only 200 spots. So in other words, are those spots already filled up, or does someone else have
Yeah.
to free
So
up
you're
a spot to me?
so those spots are already filled up. Basically, I doubt they're gonna drop any more copies. Maybe very few. What
Yeah.
you would have to do is you would have to buy it from someone who would charge you maybe like 20.
Got it. So they're going to mark
So
up
that's
their
another
spot.
thing about bots.
Yep.
So bots are almost like an investment. If they do really well, they eventually do increase in price. So there's like bots which started off for like 1,000, like more like Splash Force. It's more like of a sneaker bot for like Shopify. They started off at like 1,000. Now it's worth like 1,500, 2,000. So even there you made. If you were decided to sell it right now, you're up $500 to $1,000, and from the addition of everything that you were able to buy product wise.
Okay. Okay. I think I mentioned this last time, but like when I hear this is literally the only thing that goes through my mind. This right here, real steel.
Yeah.
I want to go battle my bot against somebody else. So you really piqued my interest this time. So let's say I'm very interested in KSR. Then there's 500 spots. You said $3,000 to $4,000 somewhere in there. I either got to hope they open up another spot, or I got to buy it from somebody else, or I need to jump in a cook group with someone like you who's already got access to a bot, and I'm just splitting off, hoping I get to split off some product. Is that right? Or
Yeah.
no?
So we try to run slots for our members, like our
Okay.
paid members. My guy who just got Dragon, Nikki. He's been in like the bot game for a while, so he's helped me out a lot. And but we've mostly been running slots on Stellar, and like I said before, Stellar has not been doing very well at all. So I don't know. I don't know if we're gonna be able to run slots on Dragon, just because of how expensive it is to even manage it. But in terms of if he even gets like a new bot or something like that, we're always there to kind of help out our group.
Got it. Okay. Interesting. That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, when you're battling against somebody, a bot that is so exclusive and it's so expensive, I'm assuming these bots are always being modified, always being updated with, the right algorithms and things like that. Is that fair? Is it a constant process?
Every
You're
day. Yep.
paying
Every day. Every
every
day.
day. Wow. So someone who buys an access to something like Dragon, are they to the point where they can get really as much as they want? They're just going to be capped by the amount of money they can spend on that
Correct.
product.
So when it comes to something like this, at the end of the day, you also do need capital for product. And that's kind of
Okay.
I was even speaking to my friend Nick today. I'm like, because he bought it, and I'm like, what's going to be your main issue? And he just told me my credit card limit, like, because this is the kind of bot where you see like people on Instagram like with like 100 pair of shoes like in
Yeah.
one delivery. That's that bot. That's what it's doing. It's able to bring you home 20, 30, 40 pairs of like sneakers, boxes. Just like imagine like you waking up, you have a delivery of like 30 cases of Prism for retail. You just kind of made half your money back on KSR, or even
Uh,
Dragon. So it's an investment.
insane. Insane. Okay. Yeah. So again, people listening, that's what you're competing against, right? You wonder why you can't go in and manually add something to a cart. Someone dropped $18,000 on a bot that's doing it for them. And there's 200 other people probably doing the same thing with that same bot. Insane.
Yep,
Have
correct.
you seen with like a KSR or a Dragon where it was the algorithms weren't working correctly. It just wasn't maybe updated to meet the criteria for that particular product, and it just didn't work? Does that happen often?
Oh, 100%. Even today, I actually had one of my members who joined this week. He actually joined from our previous podcast. He found out about it. He rented KSR for the month, which cost him 300, and he was really excited for the hoops. And until we found out that there's very low resale price on it. It was like it came out to like $50 profit. And but he still ran for it, and he had KSR, but it was his first time running the bot ever, and he wasn't able to do it because there's so many factors. Like you have to get the right proxies. Do you have like the right account set up? But it's a learning process. He messaged the guy in my group as well who also ran KSR, and you kind of like take it down like, okay, what worked, what didn't work, how come you were able to get it and that wasn't. So that's how you have to go into it. It's even like whenever like I tell someone like when they get a bot, like I'm like, don't expect it's a lot harder than you think, and there's a learning curve to it. But once you get it down and once you become very good at it, you have to study how other people bot, like which proxies work, what works on this site, what doesn't work on this site. Then you really get the hang of it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, the more you explain it, the more I realize why people are so ingrained in that culture, because it is a culture. I mean, it's a job. It is. You're investing that type of money, and
Yeah,
you're going to
correct.
end up spending that type of money on product. You got to invest yourself.
Right.
Yeah. No. Wow. 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 Wow.
You
Wow.
can't just spend 4,000. Yeah, you can't just spend like $4,000 and expect it to do all the work for you. It it requires you to learn to research, to ask questions, and it kind of gives you like the tools, and like you have staff of the bot to answer questions like, okay, how come I wasn't able to get? But it's not going to do it automatically for you.
Got it. You're not going to spend the 4K and wake up the next morning with a bunch of Prism on your doorstep. Not going to work.
Nope, you're not.
Fascinating. Okay, so help me understand in the role of maybe your cook group and then cook groups in general. Again, this is evolving. I feel like even since we talked 4 months ago, 3 months ago, it's changing really fast. What is the role of a cook group in the hobby right now?
As of right now, it's probably provide as much information, tools, and opportunity, whatever it is to make profit.
Got it. So you would say,
From investments to
yep.
like if there's a drop, like restock, to even like small things, like in Pokemon, there's like a Pokemon McDonald's and Pokemon collab, I think this weekend. And even like our group, like like, listen, guys, there's a collab on this. It will have resale value if you like one of the first people to get it.
Got it. So information, you are basically paying for information, access to constant flows of information.
Correct. Yes.
Nice. What does it cost to join your group today? Or are you accepting members?
So yeah, as of right now, we it was 25 for the first month and then 10, but I think we're gonna cut it down to just 10 because I do want to just grow the audience. It's not as much of the capital.
Yeah.
As long as I'm breaking even, and that's where I'm at right now. So I'm just honestly just open to kind of people, as long as my group is happy and we have more members, I'm willing to do less as long as we get more people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the way I'm going about it. And eventually I do want to add a lot. Like having my own in group bot would be fantastic, except it costs $10,000 to code one. So that's not something I can afford yet.
I get it, man.
The vision is big, but it takes a lot of yeah.
Yeah, well, look, I've peeked into your code group many times just to see what's happening, and there's a place for it for certain people. I absolutely believe that, and I think you got some folks from the last podcast we did that popped in and wanted to have access to this. So it's much more than just hey, sign up and get access to a bot. It's let's get information and share information with each other. So I do
Agreed. Yeah.
Tell me about. So look, we're coming off the heels of the GameStop craziness. The pump and dump was real, right? It's still happening. But
yeah,
when you hear like the terms manipulation and pump and dump in relation to the hobby, what do you think? What do you think about it? You think that's a real thing happening? Do you think your group is a part of that, or what's your take?
I do think it is a real thing.
Yeah.
And if my audience was large enough, it would definitely be a thing. But when you have only 200 people, you can't really expect a pump and dump. But when you have an audience of millions, then you can expect a pump and dump. So that's kind of where you have to be careful with. Even go ahead. Sorry.
No, go finish your thought. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So even like there's a lot of money to be made, as even as we saw in the stock market with the pump and dump. A great one is Gary V. So whenever he posts a card or something, my buddy always says you're either first or you're last. So we always, even that like my group is in general, whenever we even see Gary V posting something card related, we know it's kind of like an automatic buy, because as soon as he says it, like just buy up the first thing you see, because eventually people will, if it's like a 4 hours later, even a day or a week later, people will sort of buy it and it will automatically increase in value. I could even use Devin Booker as an example. I know he pumped and dumped. Well, he didn't dump, not that I know of, but he pumped up the price of Devin Booker heavy before the season started. Even he went from being like, I think $400 like a PSA 9 to a PSA 10 to 1,000 in the span of a week. When without the guy even playing a game, it was in the off season. So like what do you expect from that?
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think is your role then in terms of taking advantage of that? Do you firmly believe that you should be jumping on the train of someone like Gary V that first few days, first few hours, and try to ride it as much as you can? Is that how you play it typically?
So hypothetically, yes, but not always, if that makes sense. That's not like our only strategy, obviously, because at the end of the day, you do have player performance, you have other things, and I do believe it is a lot harder to pump and dump like physical objects, like such as cars, in terms of, compared to stock. So that takes a little bit more time, you would say. You're not going to see it increase in 1 to 2 days as much as sports cars would take maybe a month or a week.
Yeah.
So there's time to make it. It's a bit of a hold, and it's also larger risk.
Yeah. Well, I think to that point, that's why we see cards on StarStock selling for 10 versus, $2 on eBay, right?
Yeah,
It's liquid. Do you
exactly.
are you seeing the manipulation happen quite a bit on StarStock, and does it concern you a little bit, or do you see it as opportunity?
StarStock. No, I only seen StarStock pump and dump. You would say is when a player performs good and then poorly, which is how the market should be. It's a healthy market, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When Colin Sexton dropped 40 something against the Cavs and beat them, his
Yeah.
price skyrocketed, and then the next day, or like a couple of days later, when he played like the Knicks and put up 12, it plummeted, which makes sense, which is like how the market should be. So I do not see that
Yeah.
with StarStock, not as of yet.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting because there's limited inventory of most players. You're talking like sub 50, sub 100 in most cases. So you can move the market really quick. It'll be interesting to see what happens when there's 400 or 500 cards of a player, because that's going to happen, right? People are waiting for their submissions to be worked through the system. If it's going to be harder to move player prices when there's so much more inventory, that'll be the key.
As long as they keep increasing their demand,
Right.
then they should be fine. But yeah, I was thinking about it. Even like you could seriously manipulate the market as of right now if you buy up, all the cards. The only thing that's kind of stopping is the constant like people sending in their cards. But if you got on StarStock early, you were definitely 100% able to manipulate the market, and you still can if you buy out, like 100, like like I'll just use like who can I use, like Justin Herberts, and send them to StarStock. You most likely control it.
Yeah, you're right. No, I think that's what we were seeing in really some of the mid 80s to early 90s stuff right now. Some would say junk wax, where like the 1990 Fleer Jordan, that there's a 330 whatever PSA 10 pop count. It's gone from $300 to $900 because people got excited about it, and there's just not enough. There's not enough PSA 10s out there. So easy to manipulate the market. Yeah,
you're right. But it all comes out to supply and demand at the end of the day. If someone's willing to even pay like the 86 Jordan card, if someone's willing to buy it for $250,000 or I think $500,000 for PSA 10, it's by all means, you're buying it.
Yeah, no, you're right. It'll be interesting to see what happens as inventory hits StarStock, and I think you nailed it. It's all going to come down to how much demand StarStock can drive. They got to continue to bring in the traffic, the buyers, the people interested. So that's a good point. What do you guys think about digital products? I know Top Shot is massive right now. It's got a lot of mind share. How are you taking advantage of that? What's your thoughts on it and digital products in general?
Okay, it's a great way to make money right now. I don't think it will survive more than 2 years. And I personally think it was just a way for the NBA, because it's ran by the NBA, and they just kind of had a scrambling idea because they lost so much money during COVID as to how they could generate some revenue. And a lot of people don't see that, but that's really, I think it really is.
Yeah, it's a deal between NBA and the NBA Players Association. So I think actually players get a piece of it too, if I'm not mistaken. So you're right.
Yep, makes sense.
Yeah.
The one thing that it lacks is, when I always think of it, it's a sport card, like a physical one, is completely different than just owning a clip of something. Because unless they do something where you could like redeem the clip, to maybe use some sort of art, because sports cards have become like an art piece now. I even like when you have like friends come over, you enjoy showing them like your cards or even talking about it. You may not even like, I don't see how people pay like $2,500 for a clip from, just to like what do you like? It's a physical digital thing. It's just mine, like, still bothers me, even though I'm like, I'm like a young kid. It's my generation should be on this, but I still prefer like the physical card.
I was just going to say that, man. This is your generation stuff. You're supposed to be all in.
Yeah.
You're the first.
I'm not. I'm personally not in on it now. I am.
So
I don't see him making more than 2 years. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, not more than 2 years. That I honestly would be surprised if it lasts longer than that.
Yeah.
Are you using the Cook Group and kind of your information flow to help with trends and buying opportunities inside of Top Shot?
Yeah, so we're currently working on setting up monitors for Top Shot. Whenever there are releases, we try to let the guys know. It it has been brought to my attention heavy, and there's a good way to make money on it right now. So that's something we have to jump on. But yeah, it's in the works already.
Nice. Very nice. Well, for anyone that wants to get instant headache, just go jump in the Discord channel for Top Shot, and about 30 seconds later, you're gonna have a headache because it is absolutely crazy
Yeah,
inside that Discord channel. It's you see a comment, and about 15 seconds later, you
it
see
is.
like 300 more comments. But I don't advise that for sure. All right, man. Let's wrap it up with a couple. This has been great, by the way. This has been
Yeah.
absolutely great sharing information. Talk to me about some of the players you like. I know if I recall, you mentioned either John Wall or Bradley Beal last time. And I mean, look, rising tide, every player has basically gone up from, 2018 and earlier. What players do you like now?
Um, Good one. I'm still heavy on Colin Sexton. I'm waiting for a couple. I have maybe 5 rookie cards, prisms, to come back from grading, so that will be interesting. The guy's like 23, 24 years old, if not younger. So
Yep.
I see him being around as, Garland as a hold, those young guys. Ja, not a fan of Zion at all, and you've kind of seen the dip where Ja PSA 10 surpassed 1,000,
Yeah.
and it kind of switched roles, and Zion PSA 10 is now at 6 or like 650 ish. Still heavy on Ja. Trey Young, and John Collins is a great time to buy right now because they're down. But
Yep.
these are Trey Young is generational player and a 30 points per game scorer. I think they're having a rough patch, so they're down right now. So if you want to take advantage of it, this is right now is a great time to buy.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's interesting. First off, Colin Sexton just turned 22. He is incredibly young.
That's
One of,
phenomenal.
yeah,
Yeah.
one of my favorite players by far in the NBA. I've been talking up Colin Sexton for a while. I think he's outstanding. Unfortunately, he's in Cleveland. Um, but yeah, you're right. Like I
Yeah.
think it's fascinating to see right now the 1920 class, although it's highly touted, it's not performing that well. It's just not. It's performing okay, but
No.
it's not performing like at the price level that we would have expected, and that was gonna happen. It was just gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Great.
But
People started realizing. Even Luca, I think Luca is very much overpriced, and
yeah,
mostly because of the pop. That's the main issue.
yeah, yeah. You're right. You're right. What is his pop report at right now?
PSA 10, I think 18,000 prism.
Tell you it is as of yesterday. It is 15,590. Wow.
That's so you
Wow.
basically need 15,000 people who are willing to pay more than $1,500 for the value to go up.
Right. Yeah, it's dropped $130 in the last week. Yeah,
It's
10%.
adjusting. The price is just adjusting.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on Ja. I'm with you on Zion. I totally agree there. And I'm with you on Trey. I think Trey is a generational player. I think people wish a year and a half ago they would have taken advantage of Trey Young. They're probably going to wish a year and a half from now they would have jumped in on Ja Morant. That's what I think is going to happen. Or Colin Sexton.
Yeah,
But
agreed. Yeah,
cool,
there's
man. All right.
it's
Yeah, go ahead.
it's interesting. Yep,
No,
it's
go ahead.
interesting, how everything plays out now. But if whenever like we see something like someone's performing well, we kind of just like let the group know.
Yeah. No, that's good. It's hard to stay on top of stats and constant performances. So I can see how that'd be an incredible value add, especially for $10 a month. So, all right. So I'll put the link to your Discord in the show notes. Where else can people find you? I know you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel. You just need to do it. I think people will gravitate towards it. Where else can people find you?
Yeah. Yeah, so if you guys, I'll probably start it up soon. Just card snipers on YouTube. On Instagram, you can find us on Card Snipers. On Twitter, you can find us on Card Snipers. We mainly use Twitter and Instagram for it, and the Discord. Ty will post in the description below or wherever it is. And yep, that's the place. And cardsnipers.com. Those are the ways to find us.
There you go. All of it'll be in the show notes. Roman, always fun to catch up with you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, with you as well. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, man. Have a good week.
You as well.